Yes, yes, yes. What is up? What is up? MCR family. Another weekly edition of the show live on YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. Should be a fun one. Not only do we have the event of the year, Gary. Okay. Not only do we have maybe the biggest pay-per-view of the year this weekend, but we had the best commentary of the year, and maybe in decades by far, with Oscar De La Hoya and Pete Davidson. So I just cannot wait to get into the show. Plus, we have the major breaking news of Matchroom UK's content leaving Sky Sports and heading to DAZN in the UK. Cannot wait to dive into that one as well. A lot to get into on today's show, ladies and gentlemen. So without further ado, let me get to my co-host, the one and only Gary in Dallas. Gary, how are you, man?
I'm good. It's good to be back. We actually had a pretty decent week of boxing, and we have another decent week. Some good upsets, some good fights. Omar Juarez put on the show. If you want to hear his thoughts before the fight, go to Texas Boxing Scene on YouTube. There's an interview with Omar Juarez and his brother, who just won an amateur national title, USA boxing title. But it was a good week, and I don't get this. What's Logan? Paul Logan?
No. Jake Paul.
I don't like whatever. There's something out there for everyone, right? But to me, it's like what the N1 mixtapes was to basketball is what this is to boxing, right? And like, there's a market for the N1 mixtapes, but like, it's not bigger than the NBA. Like, I don't understand why this is so big. I don't get it, but it is what it is. I guess we'll get into that. But everyone, please do me a big favor, y'all. It is National Autism Awareness Month. I started a brand new channel on YouTube, Texas Boxing Scene. Every dime I get to, once we get it monetized, we'll go to talk about the autism community in action, TACA, T-A-C-A. So if you guys can at least subscribe to it, share it, please, whatever you do, please just subscribe so I can get to 1,000. I can get this monetized. There's interviews and press conferences and takes on your favorite Texas fighters. It's completely dedicated to Texas boxing. So please, at least go and subscribe to everyone. Please, I'd greatly appreciate it.
And on that note, we also put that link in our community tab on YouTube. So go to our community page on YouTube, and you can find that link to TACA and help donate whatever you can. If you can't donate, share the link. Of course, help spread awareness. Gary, I know you didn't watch the Triller event, and I'm kind of disappointed that you didn't, because you should have watched it just for the Oscar De La Hoya commentary. It was, oh my God, so good.
I heard he called Cunningham USSR Cunningham.
No. It was Frank Mir he was calling that because he thought Frank Mir was Russian.
Oh. Why did he think Frank? Okay.
Because he doesn't know who Frank Mir is. It's Oscar De La Hoya.
Okay. Dmitry Bivol, Archer Beterbiev sounds like a Russian name. You know, Sergey Kovalev sounds like. Does Frank Mir?
No, it doesn't sound like.
You never know, right? But like, that doesn't sound like a Russian name to me. Like, I wouldn't assume that guy's Russian.
No, I mean, my first thought was, of course, he was messing up the USS Cunningham, which is the nickname, right?
Yeah.
For Steve Cunningham, but that clearly wasn't what he was doing, because he kept referring to Frank Mir during it, and like, he was clearly like rooting for Steve Cunningham, because anytime he didn't actually mention Steve Cunningham, it was always in like praise, because he knows who Steve Cunningham is. That's a boxer. Like,
I would think so, and a good one, a former world champion.
Yeah. So yeah, it was so good, man. I mean, I'm gonna try to encapsulate it as quickly as possible, because Gary didn't watch it, and I did talk about it ad nauseum on the Walkout Network with Anthony Walker, Jay Petrie, and Benjamin Duffy. So go check that out. Video is on our homepage on YouTube as well. This was a complete shit show, and at times in the worst ways, and at times the best ways. Okay, Gary, like, you know how there's times where certain circus shows in boxing like make you just laugh at it. Like, it's comedy, you can laugh with it, you can just go along with the show, right? And there's other times where it's cringe. Like, it is pure cringe-inducing to watch the circus show. And this event had a duality of both. And unfortunately, all the actual in-ring action was where most of the awful parts of the circus show was. Most of the fights were awful. I mean, the vast majority of them. Even when you had like legitimate guys like Junior Johan, he was overweight, didn't look dedicated. That was an awful fight. You skip to Regis Prograis and Ivan Redkach. I mean, Ivan Redkach took a dive. Like, there's no other way to go about it. He got hit with a phantom punch, went down, pretended like it was a low blow, thinking he was going to get the benefit of the commission. The commission came back the next day and said, no, that's a TKO victory for Regis Prograis. So, like, even like the in-ring legit action we were supposed to get, or at least legitimate people we were supposed to see, it was a complete shit show in the worst ways, not the comical ways. Everything surrounding it, I thought was comical, and I laughed with it. I'll be quite honest. Like, I thought the commentary team, which was like 8 people, like you had Ray Flores, Al Bernstein, Crime Face. Yes, I said that name correctly. Crime Face. Mario Lopez, Pete Davidson, Snoop Dogg, Oscar De La Hoya for one fight. And I think that's it. There might be another person or two that I'm forgetting. They were all clearly on something. So, like, they were entertaining as hell. I didn't care for the music performances, to be quite honest, but it was mainly people I don't care for when it comes to their music. When Too Short did his shit, I loved it. And, I like Too Short. So,
are you serious? Too Short was it?
You missed it. So they have a new West Coast group called Mount Westmore, like Mount Rushmore, and it's Snoop Dogg, Ice Cube, Too Short, and E40.
Ooh. I mean, Snoop shouldn't be on that Mount Rushmore, but that's fine. There are better West Coast rappers.
Yes, but in terms of significance, impact. Snoop's high up there. We have to be honest here, right? At least in terms of like living people. Like, there's dead people we put on the list, but they're dead, unfortunately. Snoop Dogg probably belongs.
Those are 3 of my favorite rappers. Period. Though Ice Cube, E40, and Too Short. Like, those are just 3 of my favorite rappers. Period.
E40 was struggling on the mic a little bit. Like, I could tell, like, he fucked up on the cadence one time and couldn't get back in rhythm. I could tell. But Too Short, I mean, he fucking nailed it. Like, it's Too Short. Like, he still is a phenomenal rapper.
How old are Too Short and E40? I mean, they got to be 60?
Nah, 40s for sure.
Snoop's got to be in his 40s, right? He's got to be 45?
50.
50. They're older than Snoop. I bet you Too Short.
Think about it. They were 18 in 1992, give or take. Like, give or take, they were 18 in 1992.
Too Short was around Too Short's 54.
Okay.
All right. And I would imagine E40 is roughly the same age. 53. Okay. So early mid-50s, yeah.
But other than that, like, I didn't care for the music performances, but the commentary was, I mean, guys, the best comedy I've heard on boxing in some time. The opening of the main card was Pete Davidson, Snoop Dogg, and Diplo. Diplo's a DJ who's supposed to be fighting on one of these cards coming up. I don't care. But Pete Davidson's opening line was, you know what, these guys are so nice, I will let either one of them fuck my mom. And then Diplo responds in brilliant timing, well, I'm a nice dad. I fucking died, okay? So, like, that was the tone of the entire shit. Pete Davidson the whole time said, this is what boxing has come to. This is a complete shit show. Like, verbatim, he said, this is a shit show. I don't know either guy in the main event. I hope they both lose. He said that. Verbatim. I was dying. And he had Oscars coked out, drunken rants. Like, it was just pure entertainment. Ray Flores drunk. I gotta admit, Ray Flores seems like a fun drunk. I will say that. Al Bernstein sitting there trying to be like the adult in the room, and the entire commentary team blowing weed smoke in his face. Like this, like it was that type of event. So there were definitely elements to it that were entertaining and such. In terms of the main event, I called it. Everyone, like, I'm pretty sure I called it exactly how it went down. Ben Askren's the most unathletic, high athlete I've ever seen in my life. The guy's the worst striker there's ever been in any combat sports, like, period. Like, you can't name a worse striker I've ever seen. So Jake Paul should have beat him. He's naturally a bigger guy, naturally an athlete, and clearly has been dedicating himself to boxing for the last few years. What did he do? The first fucking right-handy landing knocked out Ben Askren. Not surprising there at all. I really don't have any like real thoughts on like the future of Triller, the future of Triller boxing, the future of Jake Paul. Like, I think all of this is like a smokescreen, and this is all going to go away sooner rather than later, to be quite honest. Like, this feels like a big money laundering scheme to just dump a bunch of cash. That's what it feels like to me, to be quite honest. Like, none of this feels real or legitimate. And even the entertainment, it can't pick a lane. There's times it wants to be serious, and there's times it wants to be the circus show, and needs to pick a lane. Gary, I know you didn't watch it. Thoughts on the outside, though? Thoughts as a hardcore boxing fan, not watching it, but seeing the reaction of it around you.
So, I saw on Twitter, people have absolutely nothing to do with the boxing world tweeting about it. Dwayne said that his kid doesn't watch TV, but he knows who Jake Paul is, and he wanted to watch it. I mean, I personally just don't get it. I mean, I guess it's good to have eyes on boxing. I suppose. I guess any publicity is good publicity. I just personally, I have zero interest in watching a YouTuber box a wrestler or MMA guy, whatever you want to call him. Matt said he was a wrestler, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't get it. Like, it doesn't appeal to me. Like, I remember they used to have like golf tournaments with professional athletes from other sports. Like, I don't get that. Like, I don't want to watch that either. Or celebrity softball games. Like, I don't really want to watch that either. I don't get it. Like, it doesn't appeal to me in any, like, they're the All-Star game. I don't know if they still have it, but they used to have the celebrity All-Star game. Right? And Michael Rappaport would play in it. I don't want to watch Michael Rappaport play basketball. I don't even want to watch Michael Rappaport movies anymore. What was the last good thing he was in? How is he still famous?
I don't know.
Friends 20 years ago? Higher Learning? Like, what is he?
I honestly don't know, Gary. I think he just has famous friends that keep him in like positions.
I guess. But like, can we just say in Higher Learning, Michael Rappaport played the white supremacist from Idaho who hated Jews. It's Michael Rappaport. Like, I'm not like, isn't that terrible casting? Like, you get a Jewish guy from New York to play the white supremacist from Idaho. It's like, you could. Mike Rappaport's fine. I mean, he was a fine actor 20 years ago. I don't know what.
No, he wasn't. No, he wasn't.
I'm trying to. I don't have an ill will towards Michael Rappaport. Like,
he's an alright comedian.
That's the worst casting ever. Like.
Anyways, what about like the idea of like a Lopez Kambosos fight, a legitimate fight, right? Lopez is a guy that we all, are invested in, right? That type of fight surrounded by this type of shit show, this type of circus. Like, does that, interest you at all? Even like morbidly interested in it? Like, is there any sort of curiosity about this? If we hear like the music lineup for the Lopez Kambosos card, and it's all like Wu-Tang and shit like that, because Lopez is from New York. Like, would that interest you? Like, like anything about this shtick intrigue you at all?
It doesn't do anything for me, but I'm sold on boxing, right? Like, I mean, I watch boxing in different languages all over the world, so I obviously don't need the theatrics. But if it helps bring anyone in, then I guess it's good. I guess if it brings one new fan in, one young fan in, who's going to be a fan for the next 50 years, it's good.
Do you think normal boxing has like a presentation and production issue? Like, separate like the Triller comparison for a second, right? Like,
so boxing. Like, I watched boxing yesterday on FS1. Does that have a presentation issue? Yeah, it doesn't know who its market is. It doesn't know who its market is, right? Like. It's like Major League Baseball. NFL knows who their market is. It's freaking everybody.
At least in the U.S., yes.
Right. Everyone in the U.S. is a football fan. College football, the NCAA knows who its market is, right? The NBA knows who its market is. Major League Baseball has no clue, right? And I feel like boxing in many ways is the same way. It doesn't know who its market is. It doesn't know that its marketing is aged. Right, it's
style marketing as an industry.
Yeah.
Yes, you were saying yes.
it doesn't know who it's selling its product to. And that's a problem. You're not going to grow that way. Maybe they don't want to grow. Maybe they just want to keep boxing in the hands of the small, like Matt would say, oligarchs within, and they don't want it to get any bigger. Because then once you put eyes on it, then you might have to clean it up, and they don't want that. I mean, I'm not saying
But my one refute to that point, even that I've made before, is that when boxing was at its highest peak in terms of relevancy and attention, it was still a very dirty sport, and that didn't change anything.
Yes, that's true. But the media was a couple of networks. You didn't have all the eyes on it, and they liked it. Boxing was good. They liked boxing. So it's just different now, right?
It is.
The romanticized of going to the fights on Friday night is gone. I mean, boxing is a niche thing. And there's so many, there's so much media, this from all angles. Like, it takes one person to pick up a story. And then if the story is intriguing, everyone else picks it up, and then you're bombarded with it. I don't think that you can get away.
Or just the level of entertainment out there, right, Gary? Like you said, like back in the day, there was 4 fucking channels, 3 channels. Now you have 1,000 channels, 1,000 streaming channels. Disney, DC, they're all throwing out their entertainment every fucking week, their new shows. You have, music back and running, it seems, in a lot of states after in terms of dealing with COVID. Entertainment itself is so large. There's so much of it out there from all different angles, all different outlets, that's why I would argue you've seen this huge watering down of these peaks in viewership, these peaks in numbers and metrics for any specific form of entertainment or a specific event of entertainment, right? Because back in the day, X event would get all these views. Now it gets 1/10 of that. Well, now there's 100 times more things to watch on a Friday night, or a Saturday night. That's just the reality, unfortunately. And to the connection to baseball, do you think there's a connection between them being just like old sports? Like those are two, in a sense, archaic sports in the U.S. And are they just running out of fashion in a way?
That's a traditional argument, okay? And I want to refute that because I heard that before, right? The Texas-Oklahoma game has been around for 115 years. Everyone still, at least when Texas and Oklahoma, still goes crazy for that game. Every Texas Longhorn fan has been a Texas Longhorn. Well, not me, because my parents are from elsewhere. But, like, my kids will be Longhorn fans.
College baseball, right?
Go on. What?
Talking about college baseball, right?
Well, college football.
Well, no, I think football is obviously, 40, 50 years younger.
Texas.
No, it is. I mean, the NFL started, in the 30s and 40s, right?
No, but college football started in the late 1800s.
Okay, well,
the
NFL started in the 30s and 40s, right?
It wasn't really popular until the 60s, but yeah.
Okay, what popular in the 60s? Boxing, heavyweight boxing was popular in the 1890s.
But that's why I was making the distinction. In the college football has been around for 100 plus years, 120 years, and it's still exciting. So I don't know that it's just
but it's exciting on a deeply regional context, right?
That's true.
When Texas is facing Oklahoma, the people that support the Longhorns in Oklahoma get excited. But there's no cross attention from the wider sporting public on that shit.
Not really. I mean, like there is some Michigan, Ohio State, Auburn, Alabama, but only when those both teams are really good, right? If one team,
the benefit, of course, of stick and ball sports is that they have a city, right? Yeah. For university, you have a university, and then you have every 4 years you have a whole different generation of people at your university that become fans and new consumers, right? So that's why there's always that turnover and increase of consumer base within those stick and ball sports. In boxing, there hasn't been. In baseball, there should be. I don't know what the disconnect in baseball is, because anyone that has a peripheral glance at the MLB knows this has been a conversation for 20 years, or at least 10 years, I would say. As baseball is dying, what do we do to fix it? But they at least have the localized regional aspect, like we talk about. They have a city that you connect to that you, in theory, should always be able to generate new fandom and new consumer base. I mean, Gary, I'm just kind of spitballing here, but like,
No,
why?
I want to address that, right? So college football, right, used to be really, really regionalized, and it still is. But like now that there's 10,000 games on, and every major conference, SEC, Longhorns have their own network, but the SEC, the ACC, the Big Ten, the Big Ten, they all have their own networks. Now you can watch all the games, so you can kind of pick what you want. But it used to be like Matt lives in Pac-12 country. He'd watch Pac-12 football.
Yes, I do.
I live in Big 12 country. I'd watch Big 12 football. Like, and that was it. And now that there's more crossover, and you can kind of pick the games you want. Baseball, people used to watch out of town baseball. Baseball ratings are fine, still fine on a regional level. But like the game of the week on ESPN, where it's just two out of market teams. That's why they try to always put the Yankees and the Dodgers, or the Mets and the Yankees, Mets, or Dodgers in it, because it has the biggest natural market, right? Like, because if they put the A's on versus Tampa, you got two smaller markets, and no one else is going to watch it. You know what I'm saying? It's not going to bring in any new fans. But Gary Sheffield, who's one of my favorite baseball players of all time, said the reason why that baseball is dying is because it's boring to watch. It's impossible to watch. And there's a fair point to that. If you didn't grow up on it, Gary Sheffield is one of the great hitters of all time, said it's impossible to watch. That could be a reason with everything Matt said, that you have all of this for your entertainment dollar. Am I going to really sit here and watch baseball for 3 hours?
And there's a lot of baseball games. Like the baseball season is long. I mean, they all have tons of games in their season. The NFL's 16 games, 17 games pretty much, plus, playoffs and shit like that. It's different. It just is, even college football is vastly different, right? In terms of the amount of actual product out there that you consume, it's a basic supply and demand argument here. I would argue is that baseball has way too much supply out there for not the demand that exists, while the NFL, the demand's high, but the supply is not high. So they can do it. They can survive the influxes of TV that we've been seeing in the last 20 years. Dwayne in the chat is saying, question to both of us. Do you guys think hardcore fans like us in the U.S. are a dying breed? Boxing is dying slowly too? ? I don't know. I think it's one of those things where it's such a generational thing where if you don't grow up with boxing, it's very hard to become a boxing fan. Like, it has to be something that's like passed down in that like traditional sense, right? Like baseball's like that in a way. But my dad's a massive baseball fan, grew up on baseball. Like, my dad was an amazing baseball player. I fucking hate baseball. I can't watch it. I'll go to games.
Only because it's mind-numbingly boring, right?
I'll go to games because then I can drink, have a hot dog, and socialize, because baseball is a fun socializing game, in my opinion. Like, it's fun to go with like a group and just hang out. But if I'm sitting at home, I don't want to watch a fucking 3-hour baseball game. And to sort of shit on boxing for a bit, I don't want to sit and watch 8 hours of fucking fights on a Saturday. I don't. Like, I know that's like not what us hardcore should say, but that's just a chore. Like, it's a chore to be a hardcore fan in boxing. It's not a chore to be a hardcore fan of like your local stick and ball team, right? Whether it's like, the Dodgers or Angels or the Kings or whoever. Like, it's not a chore to do that. It's a chore to be a fucking hardcore fan of boxing. It's a chore to be a baseball fanatic because of all the fucking games playing, all the minor league stuff going on. Like, it's a fucking hassle. Like, it's a lot of work. It's another job. That's why so many of us boxing fans end up having boxing podcasts, because we already spend so much time watching it. Like, why not spend an extra 2 hours a week talking about it with someone online? I mean, am I wrong, Gary? Like, I feel like there's a lot of fight cards I watch. I'm like, I only watch this because I'm a boxing fan and I have a podcast.
Yeah, before I did this, during football season, I would watch college football on Saturday afternoons. Like, I don't like, unless like the British fight really, really grabbed me. Like, I'll just watch football, But now, like, I gotta watch every single fight, so my college football fandom has kind of faded.
Mm-hmm. That happens, man.
Now I just watch boxing.
I used to watch so much fucking basketball games, man. I used to watch, like, in college, because that was, the rise of the fucking Warriors, right? And I had friends from the Bay Area, so we watched basketball religiously. I can't tell you the last time I watched a basketball game.
I still watch basketball, but I didn't watch it last night because there was boxing on, and I watched boxing instead.
And it was a shit card.
Both my boys lost from Dallas. Ramon Rashidi, he lost reasonably.
Mm-hmm.
And then Burley Brook, the guy who won the fight, was shocked that he got the decision. Did you see his face when he won? What was that? That was the worst decision I've ever seen.
The only fight I really enjoyed on that telecast, I think it was the first fight. I forget what it was. Was it? I don't have the box.
Amon Rashidi was the first fight, wasn't he?
No. There's another one. It was like Mora Jr. versus like someone else. He was a very tall guy. They're both Latinos.
Okay.
Tall guy versus short guy. And then it was like Ezekiel Flores.
Yeah.
I think was the guy's name. I thought that was the first fight.
I don't remember. I mean,
that was fun. That was entertaining.
Yeah.
That's about it.
I thought Frank Martin looked good in the main event. I thought he's good. Like, I was impressed with him.
Mm-hmm.
You can tell that Derek James trains him because all his fighters kind of fight the same.
Yes,
but the Burley Brooks decision is just like a head scratch. None of them scored the fight for Brooks. And I'm like, what could they possibly be looking at? What did you think? I mean, I'm a Texas fanboy, right? So my opinion can't be taken seriously. But I mean, were you shocked that
it was a bad scorecard? It was a bad decision for sure. Robbery, I don't know. I wasn't scoring it.
I wasn't scoring it either because I didn't think it was close. But maybe I got to go back and really sit down and watch the punches. But I didn't think any of the rounds were close. Like Ramon Rashidi lost fair and square. Like he lost. That wasn't a bad decision at all. Burley Brooks, I couldn't believe what I was hearing.
No, and you're right that the winner was like what? You sure you got that right?
I don't know if you got that right. Them to say, "Oh, we got it wrong. Like we read the wrong corner or whatever." Like I was expecting them to reverse it, and they're like, "No, this is what we're going with. Are you sure?" I couldn't believe what I was seeing.
Just to wrap a bow on our other topic about boxing, dying, Triller. Any other thoughts on that before we move on?
You think they're gonna have the same kind of spectacle for the Tiafimo fight, or do you think it's gonna be more serious because it's actual boxing?
Isn't the co-main on that card circus fight? Isn't it Holyfield? The co-main event, or who's the co-main event on that card?
Is it Holyfield versus
Danny McBride?
Kevin McBride?
Yeah, Danny.
Who should just fight Kevin McBride?
Danny McBride would be a far better fight, though.
Which one is the guy from Eastbound and Down?
That's Danny McBride.
That's Danny McBride. He should fight him.
Yeah, he should.
Fight Danny McBride.
That'd be fucking hilarious. I watch like a mockumentary, like 24/7 style, of a Evander Holyfield versus Danny McBride fight. But I just want the run up. I just want the promo stuff. Tell me that wouldn't be fucking hilarious. They should get Danny McBride on the telecast as on the commentary team just for shits and giggles, even though they're unrelated. Like that, I just want that, please. But anyways, yes, I don't know what they're going to do with that presentation. I'm assuming they're going to do it similar because it's not just a boxing event; it's an entertainment event, right?
So
they can put on concerts with like A-list acts right now, and have a boxing fight around it.
So boxing is WWE now.
Yes.
Well, look, I guess the Super Bowl is run this way with the halftime show and the pregame show. I guess,
the difference is that it's not that the pacing's better. The pacing was really bad, Gary. It was 8 p.m. on the West Coast. 8 p.m. on the West Coast, Gary. We had 3 fights left on the telecast and 3 more musical acts left.
Wow. Yeah.
So you know what they did? They did back-to-back musical acts. And they had like 15, 25-minute sets, Gary. Like they had long-ass concerts, man. It was like, can we just move on, please? I don't care about Doja Cat. I don't care. Anyways, you want to talk about real fights this weekend?
Yeah, I would like to talk about real life because there were some good ones.
Debatable. Demetrius Andrade versus Liam Williams. Gary, walk me off the ledge here, man. Because why does every Andrade fight the same fucking fight? Where he knocks down in the first 3 rounds, and then he coasts to the decision, doesn't try, even though he clearly is levels above his competition. even though he clearly can hurt them, he just fucks off. He just doesn't care anymore. Like, what is it, Gary? Like, why? Like, it's so frustrating. It's so frustrating because clearly he's gifted. And then by round 4 or 5, he just doesn't care.
And that's why that fight kind of went exactly how I thought it would go. I said, look, Andre's going to win. He's the better boxer. He's a superior boxer. But I wouldn't count Liam Williams out because Demetrius Andrade could fall asleep at the wheel at any time. And Williams hit him some clean shots, but he never really hurt him like I thought he might if he caught him with those shots. But, I mean, this is just, I don't, like, why? Why? I don't know. You're going to have to sit down with a psychologist, and not just, 1 hour a week for $150. So you have to get a team from like Vienna where it all started to sit him down and like really psychoanalyze why you do this. Like, it's self-destructive behavior. You know what I'm saying? Like, you think you're going to get a Canelo fight off of that performance? You know what I'm saying? Like, no one wants to see you fight again. It's not because you're not good. You're actually excellent. The skills are tremendous. Yeah. Right? The athleticism, he's long and rangy. He's got good power because he hurt everyone in the first 3 rounds. And then he just, like, go. And then he wouldn't even throw him punches. He stopped jabbing, and he was just, like, throwing, like, one left hand, like, one left uppercut, like, one,
and then
one right hook.
And then he's, like, for some reasons, like, he just throws down, like, his technicality and just starts lunging with shots, too. And it's like, what are you doing? Like, why are you lunging with this, like, way out of range left hook that isn't going to land? You're now falling over yourself. Like, why are you doing this? Like, are you tired? Is it a cardio issue? Is it like a lack of focus? Like, I honestly don't get it, Gary. Like, I think part of me talks up to, like, there's maybe a cardio issue with him that we don't know about. That he gasses out quick because there seems to be this drop off in activity and technical ability in all of his fights. And that usually, to me, says cardio issues.
Maybe, but if he was getting gassed, those shots that Liam hit him with, wouldn't they have more an effect on him? Because he ate him fine. Like, yeah. And I thought Liam's got power. He finishes people. But, like, he got hit clean in those middle rounds, and they never really had any effect on him.
Well, let's be honest here. All the people that were telling us how wrong we were for discounting Liam Williams, they need to be drug tested because they're clearly smoking fucking meth. Okay? Because Liam Williams is not good.
I didn't discredit Liam Williams. I said, look, he's got a chance if Demetrius Andrade falls asleep. But if Demetrius Andrade doesn't fall asleep at the wheel, he's in cruise control. And I think that's exactly what happened.
I said he had no chance. I feel pretty vindicated on that opinion because it was, I mean, the best way for Liam Williams to win this fight was Andrade not caring. Andrade stopped caring, and he still was a shitty fighter. So all of you people in the chat telling us that we were wrong, saying that Liam Williams was going to knock him out because he knocked out Montez Fox, fuck you. You're wrong. Stop sucking Eddie Hearns nuts. You're welcome. I don't know, man. I want to like Andrade. I really do. But like you said, it's self-sabotaging. And then like even he gets on the mic afterwards, and I want to say he tried to imitate DMX.
Yeah, he's got the funniest voice, though. I got this thing going on, so I'm not making fun of anyone's voices. But that...
Shout out to Andrade.
That voice...
What
kind of accent is that? That's not how people from the Boston area sound. I don't know what kind of accent he's got going on. I don't know where
he's not from Boston. He's from Providence, Rhode Island.
That's a half hour away from Boston. The same kind of accent.
Nah, man, Rhode Island motherfuckers are different.
All right, maybe. Yeah. But that's not what they sound like. I mean,
is there a Rhode Island accent?
It's a Boston accent.
Is it though?
Like the guy from Family Guy, it's a Boston accent. They're from Rhode Island. It's the same area. It's like saying there's a difference between a New York and a New Jersey accent. I mean, is there really? I mean, maybe if your ear is attuned to it, maybe there's a slight difference, but it's basically the same accent.
Yeah. Okay. Whatever. I'm not gonna argue at this point. I mean, what do you want next for Andrade? I mean, is it a Triple G fight? Is it Murata? Like, what's realistic at this point? Like, I don't know, man. I feel like it's hard to talk about Andrade and his future because his own promoter doesn't seem to care. He doesn't seem to care. He doesn't put on these types of shows where you want to see him in certain fights. So, I mean, what do you want from that?
So I want him to. If Laura stays at 160, I think that's an interesting fight. Eddie said he'd be willing to go over to Fox and PBC and fight. It's not a problem, and he's not expensive. He's not any more expensive than Derevchenko, and I don't know why he would sell his own fighter short like that. But that's what Eddie said. I would love the Charlo fight. I think he falls asleep and Charlo knocks him out.
Yeah.
I would like a Laura fight too because that was supposed to happen at 154. And I don't remember why it didn't, but it didn't. So like if he's willing to do that, I would say great, go over to Fox and fight one of those guys. The other fight I find intriguing, right? So 154 is going to be completely unified and it's going to be all on the PBC side. There's a prospect who I think the world of at the 154-pound division who's really big at 154. Charles Conwell.
Oh, he's great.
He's not going to get a title shot anytime soon.
No.
Well, how about he goes to 160 and fights Andrade?
I mean, it's better than Liam Williams, in my opinion, because like Charles Conwell is a legit prospect. You know, I'll be honest though, it's not anything that I'm gonna get really excited for.
But okay,
you know what I mean? Like, just to be honest here, like
yeah.
I like it better than Liam Williams, but only marginally better. Like Andrade's at this point now where we've seen him face prospects or you know, contenders from other countries for like 10 years now. Like, can he fight someone like that's relevant in the division, that's in the top 5? Like, there's in-house fights. Like, how is it this hard? Like, there's no way it should be this difficult to get him a fight.
Triple G's not going anywhere near him.
I
Danny
know.
Jacobs?
Yeah, I mean, why not? I mean, that would be a far more intriguing fight than Charles Conwell. Like, that's just, it has to be. Because that's one that I would pick Daniel Jacobs to win. Right? Like, when you think.
Off that Gabe Rosado performance, I don't know.
That was bad. That was bad.
I guess I'd pick Jacobs to win.
I'm definitely chalking that one up to just like lack of motivation because it's Rosado. Right? It has to be.
But they don't like each other, so I figured he would. I don't know what that was. Like,
that was weird.
Errol Spence tweeted in the middle of the fight, "The hell is Jacobs doing?" Everyone's like, that was everyone's thought. Like, what is Danny Jacobs doing?
That was the weirdest fight I've seen in some time.
And then the announcer got it wrong. He goes from Philadelphia, Brooklyn, New York.
Anyways, if I said like gun to my head, if I had to pick what's next for Andrade, like you gotta make that Triple G fight. If you can't make that, you gotta make the Murata fight. Like
Murata's fighting Triple G.
No, that's not official.
I thought it was for December or something like that.
They talking about it for December. There's a whole summer fight in between them.
I thought that was weird too. Okay.
Yeah, no, that fight's not official yet. It's
what
not
about Rob Brandt? I mean, that's better, right?
Is he available because of his legal issues? We're gonna talk about that later on.
Cohen owes my boy money.
He owes everyone money. It's Greg Cohen. Let's be honest here. Those are the fights that I would make because they're in house. They're easy. If you can make the Charlo fight, that's the best one to make. But I just don't think it happens. Like, I don't think Charlo wants it for whatever reason. It is what it is. And plus, like, Charlo already has a fight lined up right now, so he's booked. Like, you have fighters in that top 5 that are not booked. Book a fight.
Is Jamal Charlo really booked up because he's fighting
Juan Montiel?
Yeah, is that really?
That's
not really booked, is it? That's like we couldn't get you a date, so we brought you this guy.
I don't know what that is.
You hated it last. I was it's not good. It's not the worst thing ever. You're like, no, it's the worst thing ever.
It is. Like, I'm getting nauseated just thinking about it, Gary. Because like all these guys just waiting for the Canelo sweepstakes. Like, that's what it is, right? Like, all of them are.
But you can't go about your life thinking you're gonna win the Canelo sweepstakes. Like,
man, welterweights did it for fucking 10 years for Mayweather and Pacquiao.
I mean, you could do that, but we know what he's doing for the rest of this year. He's fighting Billy Joe, and then he's fighting Caleb Plant, right? Like, so at least book your fights for this year and hope 2022 works out better for you, right? Because you're not fighting him this year because he's fighting 3 times this year. And that's who he's fighting. I don't know what to tell you. He's not fighting you, right? It's like everyone wants to take the head cheerleader to the prom. Well, all of you can't, right? Like only
Maybe.
one of you can.
She might be down. You don't know until you ask, Gary. Okay. Anyways, also on this card, Carlos Gongora defeating Christopher Pearson via KO in the 8th round. Andrei Fedosov defeating Madrasol Majidov in the 1st round via KO. Battle of a prospect versus a longtime veteran. Longtime veteran kicked his ass. What else? Otha Jones III losing to Jorge Castaneda, as Gary expertly called out.
I told y'all, Otha Jones III messed with Texas and found out. I said that was going to happen. I said Castaneda was going to win, and I was right. And the only travesty was how close it was. If you go to the boxing scene, I put a link to that fight. You can watch the fight in its entirety. Castaneda boxes with them for the first half of the fight and then beats the dog snot out. I guess if you gave all the early rounds to Otha Jones, which they were kind of close, you could have it as close as they did. Mm-hmm. And then in the 3rd round, Castaneda beat the tar out of him. And then in the 4th, it went back to boxing, and you could give the round to Otha. And then the second half of the fight, Castaneda beat the snot out of him. That was an excellent performance. Castaneda goes in that slot now where he's the prospect at 130. He should beat up your boy next, Cordina. That's what they should do.
Ooh, I'll take that. I thought you were talking about Cobra. I'm like, whoa.
No.
What are you talking about here?
Shakur Stevens, let's just chill on that a little bit. Right? Let's just chill on that a little bit.
Is Castaneda usually a 130-pounder?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's tall. He's long and rangy.
Yeah, he's tall. That's why I was wondering if he actually goes down to 130.
If you go to the Texas boxing scene on YouTube, I got a bunch of interviews with him. He's a good guy, and now he's got the win he deserves. I don't know why they matched him because I knew I knew Otha Jones wasn't gonna win that fight. I don't know why. I mean, I guess they wanted to cut him or something. I don't know what their goal was. I knew there was no chance Otha Jones was gonna win.
What weight were BC Ramirez?
126, and he's fighting my boy Juan Tapia from Brownsville at the end of May 22nd, I think the card is. It's in May. It's end of May. But he's fighting Juan Tapia. He's going to lose again, too.
That's not as shocking anymore, right?
I mean...
He lost his first pro debut as a gold medalist. Once you do that, I'm always going to assume you lose these types of fights. Also on the card, Alex Espano defeating Ty McLeod. I believe that's what the name is. Aaron Aponte versus Javier Martinez. Aponte won via decision. And Muladin Basilinov defeating Israel Mercado as well. Gary, any other thoughts?
You want to talk about that guy Espina?
I didn't watch it.
Okay. I mean, he's got skills, but man, someone's got a lot of fire underneath him. Really? He's got skills. You can see that. It's just he just looks like he's just going through the motions. It looks like he's walking through a sparring session where he's working on things. It's like, which I guess, I mean, how many fights does he have? He doesn't have a lot of fights, right?
He's 8-0 now.
He's good, but it's like, man, someone needs to there's no fire there. He had him hurt, and he just let him off the rope. It's like, I don't know, man. It's like the skills are there.
Does he need a Joel Diaz yelling at him you motherfucker, slap him, go get him?
Yeah. That would be good.
He's young though. He's 21 years old. He has plenty of time to get better. That's for sure. Any other thoughts on that card, Gary?
No.
Also on Saturday on Fox, PBC had an event. Tony Harrison versus Bryant Perella went to a split draw. I only saw the first half of this fight.
Okay, if you saw the first half, you saw the second half too.
I saw
just that. And a lot of people are saying it's a robbery. It wasn't a robbery, and I think it was a good boxing match, right? If you're a boxing hardcore, I think there was something to appreciate in that fight, right? But there was no robbery. I had it even. I think I had it even. I had it even. I think. It was fine. There was so many toss-up rounds that you could have had it for either person. There's no robbery in that fight. I know y'all want Brian Perella to win. I don't know really why people like Brian Perella, but they do.
Do they?
If everyone's in it, like I heard, the 20. Well, actually, 1 million something people watched it, which.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah, but I've heard a lot of people say he was robbed. So I'm guessing. If you think Perella was robbed, you have a bias for Perella because nobody was robbed in that fight. Every round was close. Every single round was close.
And it was just kind of a shitty fight.
Honestly, do you think so? I mean, you stopped watching it halfway through, so you didn't love it.
And think about it. I stopped watching to watch the Triller event. Think about how, morbid I have to be to stop a high-level boxing fight between a top 10 guy and a top 20-ish guy, right?
Yeah.
To watch coked out Oscar shout, "Down with the USSR," at the top of his lungs. And going, jab, 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 jab. Just like that for 3 minutes straight. Okay? Yeah, maybe I'm a sick motherfucker. I don't know. But it was entertaining. Gary, I'm so mad I didn't watch that card.
I guess I'm just old. I guess I'm the old man now where this just doesn't interest me anymore.
See, it only interests me so I can make fun of it. I'm not watching it to be actually entertained. It's not like some great piece of art. It's Dumb and Dumber. It's not like Young Frankenstein or, Blazing Saddles.
Somebody asked me if I watched the NBA All-Star weekend.
Oh, that's the worst.
And I was like, no, I didn't watch. Why? Because all the social justice stuff? It's no, because I just don't really have an interest in the 3-point. I mean, maybe it's just because I'm an old man. The 3-point contest, the All-Star Challenge. I don't know. I'm not saying you shouldn't watch it. I want to watch it. It doesn't move the needle for me. I mean, basically, every single night I either watch boxing or basketball during this time of year. And there was a boxing on that night, and there was a basketball. Now I could be a normal person and watch a movie or something. The All-Star game, those kind of things. I don't know. They just don't do it for me anymore. Maybe it's because I'm an old man. I'm not gonna watch the baseball All-Star game either, and that's got nothing. That again, I'm not gonna watch the baseball All-Star game either.
This is so frustrating, Gary. It's only because this thing is broken. I should probably buy a new one. God damn it.
What is the whole arm is broken?
No, there's this top part right here.
Yeah.
This top part right here screws in right here.
Yeah.
And it broke. The actual plastic
the thing
around
inside.
The actual shit broke, and I've kind of MacGyvered it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not lasting. Oh, give me a sec. I need to disconnect the cord so I can get this.
Yeah. What do you want me to talk about? I mean.
Omar Juarez. Talk about your boy Omar Juarez.
Sensational performance.
Debatable.
I don't know what you wanted from the guy. He usually moves a lot more. He usually does, but he stood his ground. He stood in. He took some shots for sure. He took some big shots, but he took them really well. I don't think the guy he fought, the guy from Argentina who's got 25 fights or whatever, 22-2, was rugged, but I don't think he really has any power to speak of because he hit Omar with some clean shots, and Omar just kept, But that was a fight that Omar. And I got to talk to him. You go to Texas Boxing Scene on YouTube. I interview him about that fight. Make sure to like and subscribe. All proceeds go to the Autistic Community Action.
And guys, if you want to cash app us at Trending Now Network and make the donation to TACA, make that in the notes. I can always just send it to Gary right away, and he can put it in, something like that. If you want, we can always help out. Back to you, Gary.
I thought that was the best he's looked so far. He's shown the combinations he was ripping off, and the style of fight. He showed his versatility. I don't know why Matt wasn't impressed. Because he ate more shots than you're accustomed to. Is that?
Yeah,
he was
shots. He was fighting. He was fighting definitely offensively speaking far more in spots than before. I've seen earlier fights. He's been far more consistent with his offensive output. And I saw a fighter face a little more pressure than usual. and fight a little more conservatively. And I didn't know if it was him being more efficient or him failing to get back to his normal fighting style due to the pressure. I need to see him face another guy that's going to give him that type of pressure again. Because, credit to, what's his name again? Elias Ruro. For a guy that I don't think has that much power, he tried.
He did. He was game. He was tough.
Yeah, respect to him. He was throwing with everything he had at Omar Juarez. And Omar Juarez, to his credit, I think was rolling with shots quite well. Was his ability to sort of just absorb some shots. I thought he did a decent job of absorbing them on the arms or, on the elbow, shit like that. You're not taking fully to the body. But again, I saw a fighter having to adjust for the first time in some time. Maybe the first time I've ever seen him having to adjust. And whenever I see a prospect fight in bursts like that, it worries me. Because then I think about them fighting top 10, top 15, top 20 competition where they're going to lose rounds like that because they don't have the consistent output. They're not the ones in control. And they're so used to being in control in fights because they're the A side. They're the dominant prospect.
I'm going to try to go down to the Valley, go down to Brownsville next week. Ooh. And I'll ask them if that was by design, if they wanted to stand in and trade with them, or if that was on the fly. So
because, clearly I don't know if it was on the fly or a decision. I don't know. But there was never an attempt to, use the jab, get on your bike, use lateral movement to try to, reset the pace, reset the tempo, reset the range. It was always, I'm going to cover up, try to parry and roll with these shots, throw my shit back, and then hopefully that'll get him off me. And then I'll start pressing forward again. That's what it looked like.
Which is not how he fights.
No.
Right? So I'm thinking it was by design, but, I don't know. It was good to see that he has that in his toolbox to use. So if he has to be in a dogfight, if he has to grind, he certainly can and can do it well. I was impressed with what he did. It was like when Stephen Fulton fought Angelo Leo and he fought in a phone booth with him. It's like, I wasn't expecting that, but he did it and he beat Angelo Leo in his own game. It's like, that was impressive.
It's funny. It was funny. I was about to make the comparison to Jared Ennis and Sergey Lipinets, right? How Jared Ennis just kind of stood in the pocket and he dominated there. I didn't see that from Omar Juarez. Though he's not Jared Ennis. He's far less developed than he is, of course, respectively, and that's fine. But I didn't see that comfort in the pocket. I didn't see him dominate there. I saw him win. That's because he's facing a guy that has no power. Well, he's facing a guy that has that pressure and more power than he does.
Well, yeah, if you're fighting a guy who can punch, you're not going to fight him that way.
But let's say this wasn't a strategy, and this was him trying to adapt and failing to adapt. Then I have issues. Then I have concerns, right?
Sure.
I don't know about that. I'm only inferring from the data and information that's available to me. So right now it's a little bit of a question mark, but there is still a question mark there. I don't know if he has that dog in him. This wasn't him checking off that metric for me. Like it was for Enos with Lipinets or Fulton with Angelo Leo. It was oh, he has the dog in him. I'm good now. He checks off all the boxes. I don't have that there with Omar Juarez yet. But he's also 10-0 now, 11-0.
He's 11-0 now. He's 21 years old.
That's fine. It's okay. Plus, he's young. He's clearly not being pushed like some of these other guys we just mentioned. So that's fine. He can move a little bit slower. I'm not expecting him to be a top 10 guy right now.
Oh, I am. I want him fighting. Top 10 is tough, but 15, I want to fight in those kind of guys.
Okay, let's go to the top 15 at 140 because it's 140. That's a sneaky good division.
See, here, if he fought Cletus Selden that way or Lewis Ritson that way, I would say that's a problem, right? Because you can't get hit by those guys like the way you got hit with this guy who can't punch, right? Because there are guys at 140 who aren't particularly. Rob's going to get pissed off because I'm saying that Lewis Ritson's not particularly good. He's not a particularly skilled boxer. He can punch, right? But Juarez can't fight him that way.
Remember when Jordan Gill lost to Andrew Cancio?
Yes.
It's that similar concept to me. Where like Omar Juarez could be the Jordan Gill in that equation, and Lewis Ritson be the Andrew Cancio. That doesn't seem that far fetched.
But he should get on his bike, move around the ring, use his jab, and not let Ritson in on him.
Okay, top 15. Okay, number 15.
Is this according to BoxRec?
Yes, box. Of course.
Okay.
Ismael Barroso. He can probably beat him. Okay, maybe he can't beat top 15 competition at this point in time. O'Hara Davis is number 13. Mario Barros is number 12.
He's number 12.
Number 12. Terry Flanagan's number 11. Goddamn. Ivan Baranchyk at number 10.
He's not ready for Baranchyk yet.
No, but Barancyk's ranked really low in my opinion. Jack Catterall at 9. See, like Barancyk's better than Catterall in my opinion.
Yeah.
Arnold Barboza at 8.
That's an interesting because they're both. I mean, I guess Barbosa's had about 20 fights, but he hasn't really fought much competition yet. I guess he just did. He just fought
20. He had 26 fights.
Has he really?
Dude, both the Ramirez's of the world, man. I'm telling you,
yeah.
These motherfuckers have 30-0 records, and they fought nobody.
But Barbosa just beat who? He beat the kid from Oklahoma.
Saucedo.
I mean, that's a win.
He beat Mike Alvarado, but like that's old man Alvarado.
Yeah, come on, I'm 50 years old. He's the same age as Too Short.
The Mike Reed win was okay.
He beat Mike Reed?
Yeah, back in 2018.
That's a good win.
That was a good one. Yeah, that's a good one. I'll give him that. Oh, Luis Solis, not bad. That's a veteran. Okay, he's had some good runs. Okay, but fucking no top 10 name on that resume, it looks like. Victor Posto at 7, Pedraza, Easter, Zepeda, Ramirez, Prograis, and Taylor. Like, obviously, you can't face any of those guys. But he might, the Lewis Ritson, Tyron McKenna's of the world, they're at 17 and 18, respectively. Yves Ulysses Jr., he's at 24. Shakram Giazov, he's a prospect I'm really high on. He is at 22. Pablo Cesar Cano, ooh.
See?
That's a trap fight, though.
Don't fight. Yeah, I like that fight. Just don't fight Cano the way you fought this guy.
Yeah, man. You can't. Cano can fucking hit, man.
He dropped Paul. He arguably beat Paul. He beat Linares. I mean, he's good.
Yeah.
I would like that fight. That's a fight where it would test. It's a fight he should win. He should pass it. But he's going to be tested. If he fights the wrong fight, he loses.
Absolutely agree. Or like a common opponent with a lot of people, like Antonio Moran. Like he's fought like Devin Haney's and all those guys at 135. You can fight him. Someone that's a barometer. Excuse me. To some of these guys. But I also think Omar Juarez is not ready for that still. I think he's still like a fight or two away from that. Could be wrong.
I want to fight for a world title soon.
But this was his first 10-rounder, right?
This is his first 10-rounder.
Yeah. He went the full 10, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's good.
That was impressive because he hit him that 5 straight left hook. He hit him to the body. Look, I'm not saying Omar Juarez is the biggest puncher in the world, but he's got some good knockouts. That guy was rugged. That guy he fought was. They're going to use him again as an opponent to test people, to make people work.
Also on the card, the cruiserweight fight. Do you know how to pronounce this guy's name? I wasn't listening to the telecast. I don't know how to pronounce this guy's name. Efetobor.
They just call him Efe.
They just call him Efe?
Apache? Is that
Apache? Okay.
Something like that.
Efe Apache? Okay. Defeating Dean Nicholson, another undefeated cruiserweight.
Yeah.
What?
Nicholson is Wilder's boy. He's from Alabama, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I met him when he fought in Mississippi on the Ugas card. I liked him. I knew he wasn't gonna win because he's really small for that size too. Like I don't know if he can make 75. I didn't think he was gonna win, but I wanted to see him win. He was a really cool guy.
Yeah, he has to make 175. He's not that big.
No, I don't. I mean, it's tough when it's 175 or 200. It's
a big jump. It is. But Efe looked good in that knockout. For sure. I'm excited to see him next. He's been looking low-key good for a while now. I'm excited to see what he does. Speaking of prospects we won't be excited for going forward, of course, Vito Milanicki Jr.
Why does this make me happy? Like he's
so happy.
he seems like a nice enough kid, right? He's never. You didn't see him beating up hookers in the alleyway, or anything. He's never been in trouble. Like, he's never done anything bad. It's like, why am I so happy he lost?
Because he's a case of nepotism. Right, because isn't his like dad in the industry too?
His dad was the matchmaker from Marshall Corp. Yeah, his dad is up in the Northeast, like Philadelphia, New Jersey, like all that. He's a matchmaker. He's
He's just a case of nepotism. And I mean, you know this because like you were connected to the regional scene. There's plenty of like coaches' kids or promoter kids or matchmaker kids that are boxers. They're not good. And they get paid really well. Mm-hmm. They get all the benefits. Like, it's amazing the luxuries afforded to people that are just born into a certain family in this sport. I think that was low-key what it was. Plus, he was never that good. And he was being sold to us as like this next great white hype. And like, he just wasn't that. It's the same thing with Joey Spencer. Like, Joey Spencer clearly isn't that good. But he's being sold to us as prospect of the year. Year after year after year. And it's like, stop, please. Like, there's tons of fighters that you have that are actual prospects that people care about. So I think that's what it was.
And I feel like they wanted to showcase Melanicki, and it's like, this was a. I get his record wasn't sparkling, but he was good. They didn't do their homework on this guy if they wanted to make Melanicki look good. But that was a tough guy to look good against. And Melanicki got outboxed, and I've seen him before. I was like, I don't see it. Like, I get PBC likes him. I don't really see why. I don't get it. Like, there's better prospects than him. And I get he's only 18. He can be back, you know. He took a loss. Okay, so what? But he's a big kid. He's strong, but that's really it. You know, like, I don't really see. He's fundamentally okay.
He's not even that strong. Like, think about it.
For an 18-year-old kid, he's a big, strong 147-pounder. He's 18. His body's going to get bigger. Or 19 now?
Dude, James Martin has 0 knockouts. Like, not even like he has...
He had no power, obviously. Yeah.
Like, not even like he has, like, he has a low knockout percentage. He has 0 knockouts. He's never hurt someone in his life. Not even a fucking fly, guys. Like, that's how nice this guy is. And he beat the fucking brakes off of this boy. I mean, he dog-walked Vito. Like, it wasn't even close. Like, it was so bad by round, 4, I want to say. I was like, can we just stop this? Can the corner throw in the towel? Because Vito's getting, like, bloodied up here against a guy that's a non-puncher. And he looks like he's getting hurt. Like, legitimately hurt in this fight. Like, this shouldn't be happening. He's the taller guy. He's the bigger guy. He's the more skilled guy. He technically has more power. All this stuff. He's getting his fucking ass beat. I don't know, man. Like, Vito, him and Otha Jones should just, like, hang out and, like, find, like, another job together. Like, open up, like, a weed store. Like, just do that. Anything else.
But the thing is, Otha Jones has skills.
No, he doesn't.
You don't think so? They were so hyped about the Jones, but remember, he made his pro debut in a 6-rounder. Like, they thought he was the good. They thought he was going to be fast tracked.
No power, no strength, nothing. I mean, he has good technique. Don't get me wrong.
He's fast, obviously. Yeah.
But even then, like, I don't think he's that fast.
He's not that fast. Yeah.
He's like Vito. Like, they're both like just like whatever. You know, they're clearly like people that have been like boxing since they're kids. Right, in terms of their technique, but they're not athletes. They're not professional boxers. Might be great amateur boxers, but they're not good professional boxers. You know, like, that's just the reality. And that's what I was kind of worried about with what's his name, Keyshawn Davis, right? Like,
yeah,
is it going to be another one of these guys where it's just like he doesn't make that transition, and he clearly made the transition in his last fight. That motherfucker was mean.
Keyshawn Davis and Omar Juarez running the 100. Because like Keyshawn's going to be a 140-pounder as soon. Can you imagine you got those two guys running the division? The future looks good at 140.
And plus, they're going to be at 147. You know, like, it's not like
I don't know that Omar's going to go up to 147. You think so?
Absolutely.
Okay.
You don't think so?
He's not that big. He only walks around about 155.
Yeah, but so did Pacquiao.
I get it. What you can do what Pacquiao does, then we'll come talk, right?
He just needs the calf injections.
Calf injections.
He's good, man.
Tank where he doesn't stop punching, right? Like Bradley says, you're avoiding daggers for 12 rounds, right? Like, okay, when he can do that, then we can talk about going up to 47.
Anyways, also Darren Price picked up a win as well, and the Brentis brothers picked up wins. I did not see those fights. Gary, any other thoughts on this PBC card?
No.
All right, let's talk about news of the week, Gary.
You know what we're talking about, my boy Fabio Turchi, who got the big win?
I didn't watch it.
Okay, I mean, no one else did either. Rob watched it.
You
Rob!
watched it.
Yes.
Yeah, Rob watched anything match from, you know that.
And my boy Ivan Zuko got the win too. And I said, Rob, aren't you hyped for him? And Rob goes, in typical Rob fashion, he's decent enough.
Rob is such a curmudgeon, man.
He's decent enough.
Even about Lewis Ritson now. What did Lewis Ritson do?
Well, yeah. Because Lewis Ritson's fighting in that 140-pound tournament for the vacant belt or something. Like he's going to lose, obviously, because he's... Again, I like watching Lewis Ritson. He's a fun fighter to watch. I liked him at 35. He's just not that good. Like, at this level, he's not going to win. Omar Warrior's dog walks him. And the other guy he likes, too. What's the other 140-pounder?
I usually
Dalton?
I usually don't actually mention like specific things on the group chat on the show because, you know, like it's the wall of separation. But this is fucking funny to me. Okay. In the context of the Eddie Hearn, Matchroom, DAZN deal, right? Rob's like, told you. By the way, Lewis Ritson will be the last card in June. Winky face, right? So I'm like, oh, Rob's in a good mood, right? And then Gary goes, who's Ritson fighting? Rob, just deadpan. Who cares? What happened? What happened?
That was his boy.
That was his man's. I think because Ritson like lost a few times and Rob was like, nah, once bitten, you know, sort of thing. Like, I'm good. I'm done. I think that's what it was. I thought the UK guys don't do that. They always love their fighters.
I thought so too.
But the O doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter to me. I don't care about the O.
You know what's funny is like we know we're gonna get a text about this at like 4 a.m. from fucking Rob. That's gonna be great. Anyways, digressing to the context of what we're talking about in that group chat, Eddie Hearn has struck a deal with DAZN. Matchroom UK content, except for Anthony Joshua and Dylan White fights, which I feel like is a huge fucking asterisk there, will be exclusively on DAZN. So the next gen cards, Luke Campbell, all those guys, the Usyks of the world, they will be, well, Usyk presumably is still doing fight-by-fight deals with Matchroom. Let's presume he still does that. Those guys will be on DAZN in the UK. Anthony Joshua and Dylan White are not a part of the deal. Doesn't mean that they can't be on DAZN, but means that they will go to the highest bidder. And I feel like that means that they want to keep them for Sky Sports pay-per-views because they are pay-per-view draws. Gary, your thoughts on this giant move, and do you think it's a giant move?
I mean, it is, but it doesn't really affect me because I watched all those fights on DAZN anyway. You know what I'm saying? Like,
of course,
yeah. Rob would be a better person to say how big of a move this is, right? Because it affects him as a viewer more than me.
Nah, he has like 53 months of DAZN.
In theory, at least.
I mean, like...
It is a big move. I just don't know. I mean, is there somebody in the chat from the UK? I guess they're probably sleeping at this point, but like, I don't know. I mean, how does it change? I mean, obviously it's a big deal.
But is it though? I mean, I would say the two draws of Matchroom aren't included in this deal.
That's interesting. Yeah.
I mean, no offense to the Luke Campbells of the world, but they're traditionally not pay-per-view draws. I don't think they do massive TV numbers in the UK. I could be wrong about that. But the guys that are the pillars of this company making money aren't going to be on this network most likely. Not that they can't be, but they're not signed to it. The door is definitely open. I'm assuming left open for a reason for Sky Sports pay-per-view. I think the average boxing consumer is now thinking, well, fuck, now I have to pay for Sky and DAZN instead of just one. Because if all the content went to DAZN, then I can fucking cancel my Sky subscription, right?
Well, you can still cancel your Sky subscription because the Joshua fight would be on pay-per-view. So
you would still need Sky. It's different there, Gary.
Oh, okay.
It's not like we have like that one pay-per-view channel where like the WWE, boxing, and UFC are all on, right?
Yeah.
That's not how it is in the UK. You need a Sky Sports channel to watch that Sky Sports pay-per-view. I'm pretty sure. Maybe I'm wrong. People in the UK, correct me if I'm wrong there. But I want to say it's like what, $50 a month too. Like it's a lot of money for Sky Sports.
50 quid is what they call it over there.
Oh, yes, get it.
50 quid.
50 cash things.
Things.
The things that aren't real that we just made up, 3,000 years ago for shits and giggles.
Gold has been money for 5,000 years.
I got the number wrong, Gary. Okay, sorry.
I just
fucking asshole.
There's a famous scene where Ron Paul asked Ben Bernanke, who was the head of the Fed at that point, "Is gold money?" And Bernanke basically says no, and Ron Paul goes, "Gold's been money for 5,000 years. Why do you think banks hold it?" Most people would say gold is money, right?
Gary,
next
come on.
topic.
Our dollar bill is not on the gold standard anymore.
It has been since the 70s. Yeah, Nixon. And the Federal Reserve was started in 1913 to fund wars. What else would you use it for?
Well, Gary, duh. American imperialism for the win.
Gotta have more wars, and the only way we can pay for these is to just start printing money willy-nilly.
Okay, you is correct me saying, but not totally correct me saying, no, Matt, you do not need subscription to Sky Sports sort of pay-per-view, but you do need the basic Sky TV package as a minimum.
Okay.
Which I think is the $50. I could be wrong on the or not $50, 50 quid, 50 pounds. But anyways, in terms of DAZN UK, even DAZN has been explicit on this. Explicit, like that was the new guy in charge was Kevin Myers. Is his name? The guy that replaced John Skipper was Kevin Myers, I believe.
That sounds right. I think so.
He came out and said we need the Premier League in the UK. Well, fuck yeah, of course you do. Because you're getting regional boxing. There's only so much that gets you in the entertainment landscape nowadays, even in the UK. Because you're not getting AJ fights. You're not getting Dylan White fights. Getting the Luke Campbells of the world. So absolutely DAZN still needs a British Premier League. Absolutely they still need Anthony Joshua fights at the very least. And that's only 2 fucking nights a year. Like DAZN as a enterprise, I'm still heavily doubtful of in the US and in the UK. These are entrenched media ecosystems and entertainment ecosystems that to imagine DAZN coming in here and grabbing all of the British Premier League is impossible. What's likely is that they maybe grab a game or two or a team. They grab the rights to one team. Like that might be what they should go for. It's an uphill battle for a network like them, just like it is for Triller. Like that's why I think Triller's all smoke and mirrors. Like I don't think that's going to last, at least in terms of a boxing enterprise. Like maybe they still do their TikTok style shit, but in terms of a boxing network, there's only so much time you can do this for, and you're not making money, especially when you're throwing this much capital at it and you're not getting that the ROI on it. Like that's just the reality to it. Gary, any more thoughts on Eddie Hearn, DAZN, Matchroom?
No, I obviously it's gonna have an impact. It doesn't have the 2 major teams in it, which is intriguing. I mean, but it's still a shift of power to some degree, I suppose, right? Like
well, it is.
So, Right. I mean, it's not great for the boxing fan that you have to have subscriptions to both. It's more stuff you have to pay for. But if it's like boxing fans in the U.S., hardcores will pay for it. You're not going to be happy about it, but maybe it'll cut down on the pay-per-view model. I don't know, but I mean, because now Chisora, who's a pay-per-view fighter, will be fighting on DAZN. But I mean, is there anybody else? I mean,
because like Luke Campbell was like a B-side to Lomachenko as a pay-per-view, right? Like
Josh Taylor doesn't fight over there. I don't know.
It's hard
Dubois to say. And Joyce don't fight over there, so I mean, I don't. That's what I'm saying. I wish Rob were here to say what kind of impact is going to make on the day-to-day viewing habits of the typical fight fan over there.
Absolutely. Moving on from that, but still somewhat connected to Matchroom, Eddie Hearn has been named or elevated to group chairman of Matchroom Sport. Barry Hearn has stepped down. So, in effect, Eddie Hearn is now the guy running the entire show. It's no longer his dad in the back room. And on this, sort of note, obviously a lot of moves are happening at the same time. Bob Arum, who's negotiating with Eddie Hearn, saying that the Fury Joshua fight is likely to land in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. I know Eddie Hearn had this big long interview detailing where the fight's at. It seems like we're heading towards some sort of announcement soon, if I had to be honest. Gary, any other thoughts on Eddie Hearn, Matchroom, Tyson Fury, Anthony Joshua, anything like that?
No. It looks like this fight's gonna get done, though, doesn't it? Like, it looks like and I've been skeptical the whole time. It looks like this is a go, and it's either the last 2 weeks of July or the first week of August, which is gonna go up against the Olympics, but they don't really care. I guess they don't expect it to, cross over. I don't know. I mean, the times are different. I don't know what time they plan on putting this in because you have to kind of appease the American market, the UK market, and the local market.
Do they have to appease the U.S. market?
There's a lot of people in the U.S. who are going to buy it, aren't there?
But it's a midday fight. So, I mean,
I guess. I mean, I don't know what time it is. I don't know what time it is in Saudi Arabia.
Let's be honest, Gary. Like, if this fight was in New York City, prime time in the U.S., it's not doing a million pay-per-view buys because it's not a U.S. market fight.
400,000?
Yeah, give or take, right? And that's no disrespect to these fighters, but it's just not a U.S. market fight. It's supposed to be in the U.K. It will obviously tailor itself to the UK market, which it should.
400,000 pay-per-view buys at $70 a pop, though, is what? $28 million? It's a lot of money.
It is. But it's still a midday card, so they can still do 200,000, 300,000 buys.
Yeah, probably do at least two. Yeah, you're right about that.
And then it's going to do 2 million plus in the UK. Like, this is going to break all records in the UK for pay-per-views. Right?
I mean, I can't see it not. Of course, yeah. I mean, I would think so. Yeah.
So that's what they care about. I don't blame them, and let alone like what sort of sponsorship they're getting in the UK and all that stuff. It's a UK fight. I understand that. I'm going to run through these last few topics, and then we're going to get out here, Gary. Oscar De La Hoya apologized for his antics on Triller, Gary, saying that he's back in beast mode, though. He has a six-pack. He's training.
Okay. Gary. I mean, does he have anything to apologize for?
I mean, it was pretty clear he was on something.
Well, you don't have to apologize to... it doesn't offend me that you were on something. Like, why are you apologizing to me for?
I mean, maybe offended like the fighters.
Okay, I mean,
like taking away from the fight.
All right, it's not like he was, out there insulting people and using derogatory language. He just made a fool of himself. You don't got to apologize to me for that. Just, you might want to clean up your act a little bit. It didn't bother me.
Art Alexander. It's USSA, baby.
USSA, baby.
Oh, my God.
It's like the drunk guy who takes his shirt off at the football game in the middle of the winter. It's like, Why are you apologizing to me for?
Well, it's not
maybe
just
apologize to your wife or something because you're embarrassing them, but it doesn't bother me. It doesn't do anything to me.
he was shitting on both fighters, though. That's not
Okay.
You know what
I
I mean?
only
Like,
read the comments. I didn't watch it, so I don't know how bad it was.
it was pretty bad. Like, there's a reason when it went to like commercial break, Oscar was no longer seen.
He's back. He's dedicated. He's boxing again.
Oh my god.
I mean, he's obviously not. He hasn't obviously cleaned himself up. He's still on some whatever he's on. I'm not going to accuse him of being on anything in particular, but he's not sober minded. Clearly.
I know, Gary. It's sad. Terry Harper versus Juan Mai Choi. Unification set for Manchester. Michael Hunter, Philip Hrgovic. Percival was won by Matchroom for the IBF title eliminator. Rob Brandt has filed lawsuits against Greg Cohen, whatever that is, boxing, and Top Rank. Also, Daniel Dubois and Bogdan Danu, who obviously famously fought Gerald Big Baby Miller in Mulvane, Kansas. They'll be fighting with the WBA interim title at stake. Also, this weekend, for fights to quickly round up topics, Emmanuel Navarrete fighting Christopher Diaz on ESPN. Edgar Blanc on the card. Jose Vargas on the card. Jermaine Ortiz, Xander Zayas, and Jeremy Ordorno on that card. Also, this weekend, there is a NBC Sports and Twitch event. It's going to be live stream on Twitch as well for all of you Twitch streamers. Jelena Murjanovic versus Erica Cruz Hernandez. That should be a fun women's fight. I don't really recognize anyone else on the card, to be honest. And
Orlando Gonzalez is on that card, right?
Who?
Orlando Gonzalez on the top rank card.
Oh, on the top rank card. Yes. Orlando
He's
Gonzalez.
fighting Tony Lopez from Fort Worth, the Fort Worth Wolf, who's going to beat him.
Also, Kenshiro Taraji versus Tetsuo Hasadi in Japan.
Santi, if you find a stream to that fight, send it to me because I want to watch that fight.
Yeah, that fight actually.
But I'm not really the best at finding links.
Gary, I'll send you streams.
Okay.
You just have to ask me, man. You know that. But anyways, Gary, any other thoughts on today's show before we head out of here? Rob Brandt. I know you want to maybe mention Rob Brandt.
Oh, yeah. Rob Brandt apparently lives in Dallas now, too.
So he's Texas now.
Sure. Yeah, I'm a big fan now. I don't know where he lives and stuff, but we're friends on Facebook, and he serves his house in Dallas. I was like, oh, cool. Okay, we're buddies now. But Rob Brandt's a likable guy anyway, so I don't know where I was going with that. But he owes my boy money. He owes Samuel Clarkson money. Pay the man. And I owe Rob Brandt money, too. Pay the man. This is like, he obviously had, did he just get out of jail too? What is this guy doing?
Who knows? It's boxing, man.
Find me all forms of social media, 3D Boxing blog. Also, please go to my page and subscribe to my page, my channel, Texas Boxing Scene on YouTube. It's April 21st, 2021. Ivan Calderon is still not in the Boxing Hall of Fame. Let's make that change. Let's get the Iron Boy in. Texas is still not a country. Let's make Texas a country again. From Texas to the world, thank you, and God bless.
Remember, ladies and gentlemen, to hit the like button, share the show, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Patreon.com/Training Now Network. Cash App Training Now Network if you want to support the channel in any financial way. I also did a political podcast on our other channel, Training Now Network, earlier today concerning what did I do it on again? Yeah, it was the Amazon Union. No, that was the one earlier. Shit, what was it on? Oh, I covered the Destiny Richard Wolf debate. I did a live stream of that. And I did some other topics. I'm sorry I'm forgetting a lot of shit, but all these shows are blurring into one this week. Check that out. YouTube, Training Now Network, and General Strike Podcast. And remember, at all times, fuck the police and free Palestine. Have a good one. Peace.